Good morning and welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's really nice to have you along this morning. All right, let's wind her up and get going.
I've been listening to you for years, Greg. Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
Got a ton of stuff today. Lot to talk about.
No prescription required. Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time. I don't believe in a no-win scenario. This is the Greg Belfrage Show.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. Wednesday, April 23rd. So the president saying, no, he has no intention of firing the chief of the Fed, the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, too late. As the president has called him on True Social this week, too late. The president said he has no intention of firing Powell. He had referred to him as a major loser. He's been lobbying him to try to lower interest rates and to move on this. And so he was asked about this because, again, the president on True Social has been pretty tough on Jerome Powell. So he was asked by reporters about it yesterday. Does he have any plans to fire Powell? And the president said, no, he never did, he said. And he claimed the media runs away with things. So, and then once again, he pressed, Jerome Powell to lower the interest rates. He said this is the perfect time to lower interest rates. If he doesn't, is it the end? No, it's not. But it would be good timing, the president said. So there were brief comments, and the markets then responded to that immediately. You immediately had the markets responding very positively. And it's just amazing as you watch, the markets are just hanging on what Trump is doing and saying. And the president saying, no, I'm not going to fire the chair of the Federal Reserve, seemed to soothe people yesterday, and markets went up as a result. That's a big story this morning. Also, you've got a number of people who were killed in Kashmir. This is in India. 26 people killed, 17 injured, according to police. This happened when militants opened fire at tourists. And the police earlier today said it was the worst such attack in their country in nearly 2 decades. And the president on True Social this morning responding to this, saying deeply disturbing news, out of Kashmir. The United States stands strong with India against terrorism. We pray for the souls of those lost and for the recovery of the injured. Prime Minister Modi and the incredible people of India have our full support and deepest sympathies. Our hearts are with you all, the president said. Number of stories involving President Trump this morning. He was asked yesterday about the idea of a baby bonus as a means of jumpstarting the birth rates in the United States. And there have been reports out there that the administration apparently trying to come up with ways to reverse the country's declining birth rate. And they are apparently talking about a baby bonus for those who have a baby. One called for a $5,000 baby bonus. And the president responded to this. And as he was talking about this, he's saying, it sounds like a good idea to me, the president said. There is another proposal that would see a percentage of Fulbright scholarships reserved for applicants who are married or have children. Yet another would fund programs to educate women and so on, according to the New York Times. They had extensive reporting on this. So I'm trying to see if there are any further details from the president. So the media was pressing him about this, whether he was considering bonuses for moms whenever they have a child. And again, could mean up to $5,000 in extra cash then for moms after they give birth. And I think all the president said was sounds like a good idea to me. I think that was all he said in regard to this. So there were a number of stories around this. News Nation Now's got a piece. Would the $5,000 baby bonus be enough to boost U.S. birth rates? Yeah, it's a lot of reaction from other people, but it's amazing to me the president says, sounds like a good idea to me, and bam, man, just the thing about this guy that I find just absolutely so incredible. It's been typical of him, and I think especially now. Also, the president yesterday, this was last evening, he went after courts that are standing in the way of his administration's immigration agenda. And he said that what he is trying to do is deport some very bad people, he said, that include killers, murderers, drug dealers. He did speak about this at length. And the president said, I hope we get cooperation from the courts. Because, we have thousands of people that are ready to go out. And you can't have a trial for all of these people. It wasn't, I think he was, the actual quote here is a little bit, he's talking about the system, that the system wasn't meant to be able to handle all of these people. And he said, and we don't think there's anything that says that. He said, we were having hundreds of thousands of people a month come in under Biden. They came in from prisons. They came in from mental institutions. They came in from gangs in Venezuela and other countries all over the world, not just South America. They were emptying their prisons into the United States. Venezuela emptied its prisons out, but many other countries emptied their prisons into the Congo, as an example. In Africa, emptied their prisons into the United States. And the president said, I won an election based on the fact that we get them out. We're getting them out, and a judge can say, no, you have to have a trial. The trial is going to take 2 years. And now we're going to have a very dangerous country if we're not allowed to do what we're entitled to do, he said. Ultimately, they have to make a deal. And then he was asked about the ongoing trade war with China. And that's when he said, we're going to have to make a deal, because otherwise they're not going to be able to deal in the United States. We'll talk more about that coming up. There's another story, big story this morning. I'll touch on it shortly. Also, we had Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Secretary of Health and Human Services, yesterday, said banning more than half a dozen synthetic food dyes is pretty important. He said, we're going to do real science. We're going to do science precisely on the issues that Americans care about, making sure their kids are getting food that isn't poison. The food our kids are eating today is not really food. It's food-like substances, he said. He was on Jesse Waters' program last night on Fox News Channel talking about this. So the move is part of a broader effort then to look at the food that you and I eat. FDA had banned red dye number 3 from use in food earlier this year. So now they're taking a look at a number of synthetic dyes. getting into all of those, but that's a big story this morning. Elon Musk said yesterday that he is going to turn more of his attention to Tesla starting next month. He was on an earnings call yesterday, and he said he plans to devote more of his attention to running Tesla. Tesla has reported a big drop in sales and revenues for the first quarter of the year. I mean, Tesla's total revenue from car sales dipped 20%. Net income fell 71% during the first quarter of this year. And so Elon Musk said, starting next month, I will be allocating more of my time to Tesla. He said he'll continue to spend a day or two on government matters as long as the president wants. So he's talking about the Department of Government Efficiency there, but making it very, very clear that he'll be stepping away from his duties there if possible and devoting more of his time to Tesla. Now, this is a story that I share for those of you who watch the fourth hour every morning or every day that we do on YouTube and Facebook. And by the way, a big thanks to all of you who are watching the videos that I produce. I really enjoy having you along, getting your reaction and seeing your, what you're saying, your thoughts. I really appreciate having you along. So I talked about this on the fourth hour yesterday, this Minnesota state employee. So this is coming from Minnesota, caught on video vandalizing Tesla vehicles. And there he is. He's a Minnesota state employee, 35-year-old guy, running keys along Teslas repeatedly. There's footage of him vandalizing a number of these Teslas. And 33-year-old guy, Dylan Brian Adams, he's a data analyst for the Minnesota Department of Human Services. And despite the evidence, prosecutors declined to file criminal charges. Instead, he was placed in a diversion program that's intended to help him keep his job and pay restitution. And you had Minneapolis police who were, I don't want to say incensed, but they were kind of aghast at this. They're saying that they did their job. Police told CARE TV of Minneapolis that they identified and investigated the crime trend, identified and arrested a suspect, presented a case file to the Hennepin County Attorney Office for consideration of charges. They said this case impacted at least 6 different victims and totaled over $20,000 in damages. And yeah, a diversion program is what they decided in Minnesota. Now, this morning, even the New York Post has an editorial on this morning, and the headline is "Woke Minnesota DA Lets Tesla Thug Walk," signaling its open season on Team Trump. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy what's going on in Minnesota. I mean, I see stuff. If I start going down that path, I'm going to get pretty far afield. So let's move on to other issues this morning. Now, this is interesting. Do you buy, for those of you who buy items from Temu and Shein, their prices are going to increase starting this Friday. And you've ordered. I was not familiar with Shein. I am very familiar with Temu, even though I have not ordered from Temu, but I've seen a lot of the videos, folks, the crap that Temu sells. I mean, it is. They they think they're buying like a really beautiful vase. Oh, this beautiful vase of flowers, and they buy it, and it's not a vase of flowers. It is a picture or like a metal print of a vase of flowers. They thought they were getting an actual vase. Oh, the vase is so beautiful. No, what they're getting is an actual metal sign that pictures a vase with flowers. That's the kind of stuff that folks are getting fished in on Temu. So it's something I really avoid. But anyway, Temu and Shein are going to be increasing their prices starting this Friday. And they sent out nearly identical letters to consumers, encouraging shoppers to buy now at today's rates. And is there anything that you have ordered or you have been waiting on that I'll give you an example. Normally, I don't talk much about my personal collection. As you know, I'm a longtime Batman collector, and there are a few items that I wanted to get. These are toys that are coming out. A lot of toys are produced in China. It's a lot of them are. So a lot of toys, and these are toys, largely aimed at, Americans. But I have over the years purchased a number of Batman toys that originated, they were made in China. And there was a set of figures. These are new figures that were coming out that I really kind of liked. And I got an email the other day saying, yeah, as a result of the tariffs, because I had pre-ordered them. I saw them and I went, oh, pre-ordered them. And they're saying, yeah, as a result of these tariffs, because they're set to ship sometime this month, late this month, I believe. And they're saying the prices are going to go up. So then I look at it, it's like, do I want to pay the increased price? We'll see what it is. Do I want to pay the increased price or not? So you've got these companies saying buy now while you can. And I'm wondering if you've changed your buying habits at all as a result of that. Also, this is from Libby Emmons at the Post Millennial. It turns out baby boomers are the ones who dislike Trump the most. So the older you are, the more you don't like Trump, according to this poll. This is from Real Clear Politics. Shows that the oldest voters are the ones who strongly disapprove of Donald Trump. And so folks were asked, do you approve or disapprove of the job that Donald Trump is doing as president? As you look at people who are over 70 years old, the number of people who disapprove jumps to 54%. At the age of 60 to 69, which that's the age group I'm in, you got 49% approve, 44% disapprove. Then when you go to 70 plus, 40% approve, 54% disapprove. So older Americans are more likely more than any other demographic, to dislike Donald Trump. This is also an interesting story, that young men across America are increasingly abandoning college. And part of it is the rising cost of college, higher tuition, all of those kinds of things. And Bloomberg says that women have been outnumbering men at college for the last 40 years. And the gap between men and women at college is getting even wider now. It's increasingly wider. Half of women between 25 to 34 earned a bachelor's degree, while only 37% of men have done the same. So you got nearly almost half of women between the ages of 25 and 35 who have a bachelor's, and only 37% of men who have the same. Interesting. Also, Senator Mike Rounds was on the program yesterday, which I really appreciated. He was actually in studio, and he was making the media rounds yesterday. And I want to give a hat tip here to the folks over at Kettleland TV, because they asked him a question I wish that I had asked when he was here yesterday. Are you considering a run for the governor's office? There have been reports out there that Senator Rounds was taking another look at becoming governor again, returning to the state of South Dakota. And Senator Rounds said when he was asked, I am not. I looked at it. I seriously looked at that because honestly, look, it's the greatest job in the world, which is something he has always told me. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Yeah, I'm just kicking myself that I did not ask him that question yesterday. Great to have you along. Mostly cloudy and 50. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Weekday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Good morning to you, my friend. Thank you for being here. I was pretty quiet yesterday, but I was having trouble getting my head together. Some days are like that. When I get off the air each day, when I'm all done after the 4th hour and I've done my, I've engaged with you as much as I can, I got to tell you, I'm mentally exhausted because I really try to focus on what I'm doing and my conversations with you and so on. And I'm trying to give you as much information as I can, engage with you as much as I can. And when I'm all done with that, man, I'm just tired. But yesterday was one of those days where my focus wasn't there, which is why I was so quiet yesterday morning. So thank you. Some days are like that. I'm sure you can read my mood.
Natural disasters are still devastating, and supply chains.
Okay.
That's why millions of Americans are turning to My Patriot Supply, the country's most trusted preparedness company. Right now, they're offering $200 off their best-selling 3-month emergency food kit. This kit feeds one adult 2,000 calories a day for 3 full months. It's packed in sturdy, long-lasting containers with a 25-year shelf life. And best of all, it ships fast and free. But this special offer is only available for a limited time. My Patriot Supply rarely offers discounts this steep, so if there's ever a time to get prepared, this is it. Get ahead of the next crisis. Whether it's a natural disaster, supply chain disruption, or something bigger, you'll be glad you took action. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com to claim your $200 discount. That's MyPatriotSupply.com. Again, MyPatriotSupply.com. Stock up on peace of mind today.
Partly to mostly cloudy today. High temperature 71 in the Sioux Falls area. North wind 5 to 15. A couple of isolated showers as well. For tonight, a few widely scattered areas of rain possible. Low 48. Better chances of rain working in from the south tomorrow with a high of 55. Northeast.
And in Sioux Falls, it's 6:30, mostly cloudy and 50 currently at Kello. We'll check in with Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center in a few moments. Opponents of Summit Carbon Solutions scored another win in South Dakota yesterday. Joe will have those details for you coming up. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
Transferred to St. Peter's Basilica for 3 days of public viewing. The procession today included cardinals, priests, and members of the Eagle Star walking the casket from the chapel of Casa Santa Marta, his residence, to St. Peter's. That's Fox's Alex Hogan. The Pope's funeral will be held Saturday morning. The Department of Health and Human Services and the FDA announcing plans to phase out petroleum-based food dyes from America's food supply.
They want to eat petroleum. They ought to add it themselves at home.
RFK Jr. appearing alongside FDA Commissioner Marty McCary.
For the last 50 years, American children have increasingly been living in a toxic soup of synthetic chemicals.
He says the FDA is working to ban 2 dyes and have the food industry voluntarily pull the other 6. America's listening to Fox News.
Weather brought to you by Infinity Sedation Dentistry, Sioux Falls. They fix your teeth while you sleep.
Callow News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Callow.com News Center. Opponents of Summit Carbon Solutions scored another win in South Dakota. Brian Jordy, the attorney for those opponents, told the Public Utilities Commission some of his clients have declared they will never sign an easement for Summit to bury the pipeline on their land. He argued there's no path for Summit to enter the state from Iowa or exit the state to North Dakota as planned.
My clients directly on the route and people who have intervened twice and or been involved in the survey lawsuit. So the most adamantly opposed.
Summit's attorney, Brett Konecki, says the possibility of getting through the state should not be a basis for the commissioner's decision.
I'm not sure I've ever heard a tribunal so brazenly invited to violate the law before. The grounds for denial, return, or amendment of the application are found in Section 13, and I don't find impossibility anywhere.
The Public Utilities Commission voted 2-1 to reject Summit's request to delay their
Summit Carbon Solutions.
Time for the company to overcome landowner opposition to building the line.
They were a lot happier when they were out there roughing up South Dakota homeowners.
Local government more accessible starting in May.
I don't like it when they get roughed up.
Meeting a month to better serve residents who work during the day. Lake Mitchell in Davison County is getting a major cleanup. The lake is scheduled to be drained, dredged, and cleaned in the coming months. $25 million project is expected to start this fall and wrap up by 2027. It addresses algae and phosphorus issues in the lake. Restocking is planned after the work is completed. And South Dakota ranks number 2 in the nation for gambling addiction, just behind Nevada. That's from a new WalletHub.com study. Casinos and gambling are prolific in the state, and while many play for fun, others fall into serious addiction. The Mayo Clinic says gambling disorder affects up to 3% of U.S. adults. Just last year, Americans lost over $100 billion to gambling. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Weather brought to you by Clint Stencil Construction. Call for an estimate on your remodeling project.
Partly to mostly cloudy skies today in the Sioux Falls area. High temperature at 71 with a north wind at 5 to 15. And an isolated shower cannot be ruled out. Forecast for tonight, low temperature 48. A few widely scattered showers or thunder showers are possible. And we'll be watching that scattered rain chance tomorrow. We'll see if more of that comes up from the south with a high of 55. From the Storm Center at Kindleland TV, I'm Brian Karstens.
Having trouble receiving Kello at 107.9? If you're in the Sioux Falls Metro, try us at FM 105.1. Kello News Talk 1320 and now at 105.1.
I don't know about you, but I've officially reached the point of no return. Folks have complained about their so-called loss of privacy since the 1980s, when 7-Eleven began installing security cams in their stores. Today, everything is collecting data about you. And when I say everything, listen to this short and very incomplete list. I'm Kim Commando for NetSuite. You can download the CFO's Guide to Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning for free at netsuite.com/Kim. Have a Samsung or LG TV? It reports everything you watch. Nest thermostats know when you're home, away, and when you sleep, even the room you spend the most time in. Alexa devices and Apple Siri and Google are listening to everything all the time, and your smartphone knows every place you go and where you are right now. No one has really lost their privacy. You, me, all of us, we gave it away in the name of convenience. So stop your complaining. Over 650,000 people start their day with my free newsletter. It takes just 5 minutes. Sign up at getkim.com.
Robert, you're incredibly kind. Thank you.
Ask 9 experts and you'll get 10 answers. Rates rising.
That's why I do what I do every day.
Up or down.
For folks like you, and I run into folks like you when I'm out and around, and they say things, incredibly kind comments to me. And that's why I get up at 2:45 every morning.
Financial management, inventory, and HR all into one fluid platform. With one unified business management suite, there's one source of truth, giving you the visibility and control you need to make quick decisions. With real-time insights and forecasting, you're peering into the future with actionable data. When you're closing the books in days, not weeks, you're spending less time looking backward and more time on what's next. And speaking of opportunity, you can now download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Kim. The guide is free for you at netsuite.com/Kim. That's netsuite.com/Kim. netsuite.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, with 2 locations to make sure you have the proper traction this winter.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Andersen picture and combination windows. Optimizing a beautiful view and light in the bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 605-646-2667 today.
Let's ABC Seamless.
Pancakes are coming. Pancakes are coming. Who likes pancakes?
We do. It's time for the Sioux Falls Lions Club's Pancake Days, all day today until 8 p.m.
All you can eat scrumptious pancakes and mouth-watering smokies, all for just $12 at the door. And we have ice cream from Wells, Blue Bunny, and syrup from Hy-Vee. Support local charities. Bring your family. Enjoy the fun.
It's Pancake Days until 8 p.m. tonight at the Sioux Falls Convention Center.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Surprise! Your expenses this month were way higher than you expected. Also, you forgot to renew your website domain, and now you're in a bidding war.
You should see the look on your face.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Plus, the fridge died in a break room, and now everything smells weird.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-383-7733. That's 800-383-7733.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group. When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
Attention passengers, we've reached 10,000 feet and internet is now available for purchase.
I just paid hundreds for this flight, and you can't even throw an internet? I'll just take the free pretzels.
Sorry, but I do have snack boxes for sale.
I'm just gonna sleep.
In that case, we are selling pillows and blankets as well.
I'll just breathe. That's free, right?
Life costs a lot, so bundle it. You could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Kello is more than just a radio station. We're live online 24/7 at Kello.com. We're never more than a couple of words away on your smart speaker. And we're available anywhere, anytime on your smartphone with a free Kello app. Stimulating talk and news when it happens. Kello News Talk.
I love this song. Sorry you can't hear it. 20 minutes before 7, mostly cloudy and 50. Great to have you along this morning. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Oh, it was a nail biter for the Sioux Falls Stampede last night. They had double overtime in their playoff game with Waterloo and sadly came up short. Sioux Falls Stampede eliminated by Waterloo last night. It means the Herd are done for the season, and we'll talk to Jim Olander, get a recap of the series against Waterloo. Jim Olander will join us this morning at 8:05.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News.
These are the stories that are trending this morning. The Vatican has released the first photos showing Pope Francis lying in state after he died on Monday. So the photographs show him dressed in his vestments, laying in a wooden coffin. And this is in the chapel of his residence. And Swiss guards can be seen standing on either side of the casket. So the funeral coming up, and you'll also have, conclave beginning as the Catholic Church chooses a new pope. Also trending this morning, Trump administration reportedly considering several different ways to increase U.S. birth rates. The New York Times said this was on Monday, that the administration is considering several ideas, including a $5,000 baby bonus, which would be given to mothers after delivery of their child. And there are some other things that they're taking a look at as well. And the president's saying he's very open to that idea. Also, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. plans to direct food manufacturers to phase out 8 petroleum-based food dyes from cereals, sports drinks, and other items. So this was announced yesterday. Affects hundreds of thousands of grocery store items containing 8 petroleum-based dyes. And I don't know if you caught it during Fox News Radio, what he was saying yesterday is, if the consumer wants to go ahead and consume gasoline, you can do that, but we're not going to be putting it into your food. It's like, well, when you put it that way, also, Tesla profits have crashed by 71% in the first quarter of this year. So they announced this yesterday that their profits fell 71% in the first 3 months of the year. And the New York Times, as they reported this, saying this could increase pressure on Elon Musk to curtail his work for President Trump. And in fact, Elon Musk has already said, he'll cut his work with Doge back to 1 or 2 days. Also, Carmelo Anthony, the family representing, this is the organization that's representing the family, said that he has had to be moved from his home because of the threats he's been receiving. They said this on Monday. They're gravely concerned for Anthony's well-being and moved him to an undisclosed location to ensure his immediate safety. Also, the New York Times was found not liable for defaming Sarah Palin. She had tried a couple of times to take them to court, and a jury in Manhattan ruled in favor of the New York Times. She said she was defamed in 2017 in an editorial in which the New York Times had linked her to a mass shooting incident. And I don't think this is any surprise coming from a jury in Manhattan. Also, the headline here at the New York Sun is chaos at CBS News. 60 Minutes executive producer resigns under pressure as network negotiates a settlement with Donald Trump. So Bill Owens has left CBS News. He is the executive producer of 60 Minutes. And this is all over that CBS interview with Kamala Harris. The 60 Minute CBS interview with Kamala Harris. We have talked about it at length on this program, where there were same question and CBS was airing different responses to the same question. Donald Trump suing them. And so now word is that CBS might actually apologize for their editing of the 60 Minutes interview and pay Trump an 8-figure settlement. So at this, you have Bill Owens saying, yeah, he said, over the past months, it has become clear that I would not be allowed to run the show as I have always run it, to make independent decisions based on what was right for 60 Minutes, right for the audience, which makes me laugh. He said, after defending the show from every angle over time with everything that I could. He said he's been defending the show. So now he's stepping down. And Daily Mail says, their headline says, he quits the show with an astonishing statement in the latest blow for the beleaguered network. Oh, it couldn't happen to nicer people. Also, Secretary of State Marco Rubio unveiled a massive overhaul of the State Department yesterday. He plans to reduce staff in the United States by 15% while closing and consolidating more than 100 bureaus throughout the world. And he announced this on social media, also detailed it in documents, the latest effort by the White House to reimagine U.S. foreign policy, scale back the size of the federal government. And Rubio said, we cannot win the battle for the 21st century with bloated bureaucracy that stifles innovation and misallocates scarce resources, he said. And he said the organization is trying to meet the immense challenges of the 21st century and put America first. So Tammy Bruce, she's sharp. I don't know how familiar you are with Tammy Bruce, but she's a spokeswoman now for the State Department. She's incredibly sharp. She said the sweeping changes will empower our talented diplomats, would not result in the immediate dismissal of people. She said, it's not something where people are being fired today. They're not going to be walking out of the building. It's not that kind of a dynamic. This is a roadmap. It's a plan, she said. So they're consolidating bureaus, reimagining the State Department. It's a big story. Also, the U.S. Supreme Court yesterday appeared likely to rule for parents in Maryland. These are parents who objected on religious grounds to books that were made available in the district's elementary schools and feature stories about gay and transgender characters. So members of the 6-3 conservative majority, they often back religious rights, seemed sympathetic. I would say would offer the caveat to you that it is really difficult to tell. Oftentimes, you may think the Supreme Court is going one way and they wind up moving in but we'll see. It certainly appeared that way, that they when it comes to the rights of the parents, the Supreme Court, this more conservative Supreme Court, has stood pretty firmly on the side of parents. So we'll see where it goes. Vladimir Putin saying he's ready for direct talks with Ukraine. It's the first time in 3 years that he's suggested this. So bilateral talks with Ukraine. And Vladimir Zelensky said that Kyiv is prepared for any discussion in order to stop attacks on civilian targets. So both Putin and Zelensky facing pressure from the U.S. Now, keep in mind, the U.S. is threatened to walk away from this. You had Marco Rubio, and it was a story that was trending not long ago. Marco Rubio, was it late last week, that Marco Rubio said, hey, if we don't get this done in short order, we're done. I mean, we're going to step away. We're out of this. If they do not want peace, if they don't show us they want peace, we're done. And it seemed to have an effect on Vladimir Putin. Also, there are stories that, now this is coming from the UK, but the Supreme Court, now this is in the UK, not the US Supreme Court, but the UK Supreme Court, had found they had ruled on what a woman is and the issue of transgenders and whether trans women are women being an issue in the UK. And the UK Supreme Court had ruled on behalf of biologically born females rather than transgenders. And they're saying very clearly in the UK, transgender, women are not the same as biological women. Now you've got the Prime Minister of the UK, Keir Starmer, having to admit that a woman is an adult female. And he said, well, he was asked about this. Previously, he has said trans women are women. This is what he has said previously. So he was asked about this, and he said, I think the Supreme Court has answered that question. And the media did not relent. And he said, I actually welcome the judgment because I think it gives real clarity. It allows those who have not, it allows those that have to draw up guidance, to be really clear about what that guidance should say. So bringing clarity for those who needed it. I mean, who needed clarity? I've always been clear on that issue. Why is Keir Starmer unclear on that issue? Why was that a difficult issue for him? Now he's saying, okay, yes, transgenders are not, transgender women are not same as biological women. It took the UK Supreme Court to convince him that was... Man, people are lost. People are just absolutely lost on that issue. Also trending this morning, the websites for 4 regional climate centers that are run by NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, returned to service this week. So there was an outage that was linked to expired contracts, and there was thought to, be closures, but the sites have now been restored. Also, police in India saying gunmen have killed at least 20 tourists at a resort in Kashmir. Actually, it's greater than that. I think it's closer to 25 at this point. Officers saying at least dozens of others who were also injured. We'll get you more details on that from Fox News Radio this morning. Also, Vice President J.D. Vance touted progress made toward a U.S.-India trade deal yesterday. He's saying a partnership between the administration and India would ensure a 21st century that's prosperous and peaceful. He's been meeting with Prime Minister Modi in India. Also, the U.S. set new duties as high as, get a load of this. So we talk about tariffs. Tariffs as high as 3,500%. Wow. This is on solar imports from Southeast Asia. National Institutes of Health says it will pull medical research funding from universities with diversity and inclusion programs and any boycotts of Israeli companies. It's a policy note that was issued earlier this week. And a Delta flight was evacuated at a Florida airport on Monday after an engine caught fire, according to the FAA. In fact, there are photos of it and video of this. You can see flames coming out of so this was an Airbus A330 that was leaving the gate, preparing to depart for Atlanta when the fire broke out. So the flames were first observed coming from a tailpipe. No initial reports of injuries. And that's a look at the stories that are trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. This hour brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Well, thank you, my friend, for starting your day with us. Please come back for the 4th hour later today. So until then, I'll see you again soon.
With over 600 new and pre-owned units in stock now.